What's up guys, it's your girl CK. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm back with another cooking video. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make this barbecue chicken drumsticks, and it's all oven baked, so it's pretty much healthy and without much details. Let's get down to the video. I'm going to start off by prepping my vegetables. So I'm going to be using the 3 colored capsicums, onions, and for that I'll be using just half a capsicum for each color and then 1 full onion. So I'm going to proceed into dicing that into small cubes, and then I'll set that aside on my tray, as you can see, which I'm going to use later. And then later on I diced my onions, and voila, here are my ingredients, basically my vegetables. If you'd like to add more, then yeah, go for it. So these are the drumsticks which I'm going to be using, which I bought from Naivas. Half a kg costs like 600 if I'm not wrong, and it's about 6 pieces, so it would comfortably fit 3 people. So the first step I'm going to be doing is washing the drumsticks. It's very important because you don't know where the meat was sourced from, so it's important to wash your meats before you start cooking them. So as you can see, the drumsticks have like what are these? I think feathers at the bottom. So I'm just going to start off by cleaning. So I'm going to be removing that excess, like whatever that is at the bottom, so that my chicken can be clean. If you know this type of chicken, guys, it's the broiler chicken. If it's Kenyaji chicken, you'd have probably bought and then they would have like burnt it for you, not burnt it, kuichoma yani, if you guys know what that means. So yeah, I'm going to be removing if there's any bones at the bottom or if there's unwanted dirt or anything. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that for every piece of drumstick, and then setting that into a clean container where I'll proceed to clean. So tell me in the comments, guys, how do you guys usually clean your chicken to ensure that your food is clean? So I'm going to start off by putting hot water. Oops, my camera also almost fell in the chicken, sorry for that. So I added some hot water because I already had it, so I was using it. I poured it right into my chicken. Then I added a few tablespoons of vinegar, yeah, a bit more. It actually even helps with the smell, like to take off the raw smell of the chicken, yeah, which I feel is important because some people are actually irked by that smell. And then using half a lemon, I'm going to be rubbing that off on every piece of chicken. So yeah, it's also part of like the cleaning process. And then after scrubbing a lemon on each drumstick, I'm going to be scouring the chicken so that the marination can go in right easily as soon as I'm done with cleaning the chicken. After I'm done cleaning my chicken with the vinegar, hot water and lemon, I'm going to proceed to discard the water that I used the first time, and then I'm going to rinse off the chicken with clean cold water. So it's going to help refreshen the chicken and then get off the excess lemon and vinegar. And then I'm going to pour off the excess and then dry off the chicken drumsticks on a separate bowl so that I can proceed to marinate my chicken. Here I'm just showing you guys how I drained off the excess water, and then I continue to place the drumsticks on a clean separate bowl so that I can dry that off and proceed to marinate my chicken. I always emphasize on clean as you go, and also to clean your hands as you're coming into direct contact with food, so that there may not be any contamination to the food that you're handling. So after cleaning my drumsticks, make sure to pat the chicken dry so that you can wipe off the excess water. And then I'm going to proceed to add my spices, and for this you can omit or add whatever you like. I'll put the ingredients in the description. So I added a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of garam masala, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of coriander powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt, All these ingredients I'm going to put in the description box in case I am going a bit too fast. And then after adding all my spices and ensuring that I put the right quantities, I also added 1 chicken cube. I think some people call it bouillon cubes, I think, yeah. And then after that, I'm going to proceed to now mix the chicken so that the marination can set. And then so the marination can set, yeah. I also added a bit of olive oil to help the spices to rub properly in the marination. If you actually have gloves or are not mixing the chicken, you can use your hands as long as they are clean, or it's just safer to put on gloves and mix the spices, like the spice rub into the chicken. So yeah, mix that in properly and show the chicken some love. If you have time, you can leave that to set into the fridge for about 30 minutes. So that was the chicken cube. You can see it's not very like grainy, so you have to completely like rub it into the chicken so that someone cannot bite into that. So yeah, mix that in completely, and then we're going to proceed to add now our vegetables. You remember we had cut some vegetables in the beginning. We had the peppers, we had the green capsicum, the yellow and the red. Now those are the vegetables that I'm going to be using. I'm going to mix that in together with my chicken, and then I'm going to mix that in completely and then proceed to baking it. So yours, guys, this is how the chicken looks like after it's marinated. I didn't really have time to let the marination set, but that's not going to hinder the taste because I've seasoned it to perfection, and then I've also added my vegetables. So I don't have a baking Dutch oven, I think that's what it's called, the cooking pot that can bake into the oven. So I'm just going to be using one of my baking tins, which I know is the right equipment and can bake food into the oven. So I added that, and then I spread it around the pan to ensure that it's not squeezed. And then after that, if you can see that your vegetables are not properly coated in oil, you can add a bit of olive oil and then proceed to cover that with aluminum foil, and then put it in the oven, set at the right temperature, and then yeah, let that bake. So while that is baking, I'm going to be showing you the barbecue sauce that I'm going to be using. Since it's homemade, like right from scratch, you can use the bottled one if you have, but for me, I'm going to be showing you how to make barbecue sauce at home from scratch with just a few ingredients. So in a clean bowl, just add a bit of ketchup. So the brand of the ketchup really matters. The better the brand, the better the taste. So I added ketchup in a clean bowl, and then I'm going to proceed to add the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to put the list of the ingredients for the recipe for the barbecue sauce in the description box, just in case you are going to the supermarket and need to know what ingredients you need to buy. Next, I'm going to add brown sugar. You can add any form of brown sugar. So for me, I used the molasses because it's not too sweet, or just add any form of like a dark sugar of some sort. Then I added Worcester sauce. The proper quantities, I'm going to put them in. I'm going to add a bit of apple cider vinegar, which is going to help to balance the sweetness, because as you know, ketchup and brown sugar can be a bit sweet. So the Worcester sauce and the apple cider vinegar are basically going to balance out the sweet notes. And then I added a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of cumin, basically all the spices that I used to marinate the chicken. I'm also going to add to this. And then I'm also going to add a teaspoon of mustard. You all know the mustard. I think there's so many types of mustard. There's even one with sesame seeds, but I just used the plain one. Then after that, I'm going to mix everything in together, and then mix that in all together, and then you can taste to see if there's anything we forgot to add. And always remember to taste your food so that you balance the quantities for the spices and the notes balance properly. So after mixing that, I checked to see if the consistency is right, and I also tasted it, and then I realized that I forgot to add salt, so I also added some salt to help to balance everything and to make it come together. So after mixing this, I also added some black pepper, and then after mixing everything in, I'm going to set that aside. I know now you're probably wondering, aren't you going to cook it? Because I'm going to add it to my chicken, which is in the oven. I'll just set it aside, and then now once the chicken is out of the oven, it's been like 45 minutes now, and this is how the chicken looks like when it comes off from the oven. It has already released some of the juices, and then there's also juices from the vegetables. So as you can see, it looks yummy, and it smells even more yummier. I kid you not, the kitchen is smelling so yum. So I'm going to take the jus from the chicken, which has been cooking for around 40 minutes. I need to use that jus to complete my recipe for my barbecue sauce. And so you guys, you can make this barbecue sauce and then put it in a mason jar, and then set that aside in your fridge. So as I know you're wondering if it's okay that the vegetables are going into the jus. It's okay, because I'm only going to use this barbecue sauce to cook my barbecue marinated drumsticks. But I think in the previous video I had shown you guys how to make quesadillas, and then I added some barbecue sauce into the quesadillas. I actually used this barbecue sauce because I think I had mentioned that I'm going to show you how to make the barbecue sauce in the next video. So this is the recipe for the barbecue sauce. So after taking out the jus, I'm going to put the chicken back into the oven, because I need to cook a little bit more. And then from this, and how you tell if your chicken is cooked or not, you can use a thermometer. But if you do not have a thermometer at home like me, you can just proceed by taking the largest piece of chicken from your Tupperware, the one that you're using to cook, and then just cut into that. And if there is blood oozing out still from the bones, or the chicken is still not cooked, it's still a bit when the chicken is raw, that texture when it's still raw, the softness, if it's still not cooked to firmness, or there's blood oozing out, you need to put that right back into the oven. So I could see my chicken is actually okay. So this is my barbecue sauce. Then I'm going to add the chicken stock that I have just taken from the cooked chicken that I have removed from the oven. I'm going to mix that in completely well, and then I'm going to pour it directly into my drumsticks. And then I'm going to mix that in. So as you can see, it really has a very nice color. And then once again, don't forget to taste your food to check that you've balanced and seasoned everything properly. So now pour the barbecue sauce over the chicken. You can pour little or as much as you want, and then I'm going to proceed to cover that and then let that bake into the oven. When you're putting it back into the oven for the second time, make sure to put it in the topmost layer so that it's caramelized properly and it's cooked just so properly. Cover and put it back into the oven. And this is how our chicken looks just after 30 minutes. Garnish, and you can serve that with a bit of white rice or maybe mashed potatoes, or you can just have it with a salad. And voila, bon appetit. Catch you in the next one. Remember to subscribe.